Okay, it's Labor Day. I'm going to make another one of my famous videos. I wanted to show my new garden, but because George's family hasn't seen the back of the deck, I'm going to start. This is looking into the plant room with Robert was there. There he is. There's Robert. And this is a really beautiful place to have breakfast. And then there's a door that goes out onto a little porch that has these this little set that was my mother's that we had painted. And there's just a little deck here, and of course petunias are pretty sad this time of year. And then we go into the screen porch, which is hard to do while shutting the door. And this was George's parents' wicker couch, which I had cushions redone last year, and we spent many years sitting out on the porch at 1204 Main in Clear Lake with George's parents. And I don't know how old that is, but I'm going to guess it's at least 80 years old. And this is the rest of the porch. And then we go out through another door into the back deck. And before we did the garden project, we had all of the nursery stock out here. It was very, very pretty, but it took Jim and I, one of us, an hour and a half to water every day. And that got really old when it was 100 degrees. So this just kind of gives you an overview of the deck. We have had 10 inches of rain in the last week to 10 days. And we have not been able to mow. So the yard is a little tall. Okay. And now we're going to walk around to the front deck. And I'll show you the dog run, which is totally devoid of dog poop right now. Try to clean it up every couple of days. Okay, this is the front deck. And this is the dog run that connects to the house. And the dogs have a dog door. And this is turf from Jack Trice Stadium, Cyclone Field. And the dogs go up that ramp and through that dog door to get in the house. Here's Rick. That's Rick's favorite place. Rick likes to hang out in that corner. You're a very good boy. Okay. And this is the front deck. Some hanging baskets, which all look pretty good considering what time of year it is. It's really hard to keep hanging baskets looking good in this climate for months and months. This is a hibiscus. It's not blooming this morning, but this is probably going in another month or so. This is called Ruellia. I'm debating whether to take it in. If it keeps looking that good, I probably will. But I was just walking through a greenhouse and saw that, and it was cheap, and leaped into my cart. Okay. This is the waterfall, the back of the waterfall. This is 8 years old. Beautiful. It's got 3 separate reservoirs, umbrella tree. And 3 separate streams. This is the front. It's my favorite one, probably. And this is the sumac that is most of the time out of control. Needs to be, I just cut that back a couple weeks ago. You can't really tell. Needs cut back again. Big mugo pine. That was just one of those little tiny ones when I planted it. Very pretty. And now, dun, 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 the new garden. George was playing Matchbox cars with his cars this morning. I made him move them all because I told him they were ruining my ambiance. The garden, 2 weekends ago, my nephew, John Hughes from Cedar Rapids, came with a friend, Aaron, and they brought 2 truckloads full of stuff. And we had dug up what we wanted to keep at that point and given a lot of stuff away. And they took a skid loader and scraped it off, and we planted it that day, and we finished it the next morning. So it was John and his friend and me and George and Jim and Mike Battaglia and his friend Michelle, and Aaron Embry and Karen Burks helped, and my new friend Marcy, who works at Lanahan Nursery. The garden would not look this way without Marcy's input, so thank you, Marcy. So you can see the areas that we kept, some of the grasses. All of the gardens are lined with these boulders, which most of them I hand-picked out of the rock quarry and then put them back down here by hand. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. I was just diagnosed with severe carpal tunnel. I'm sure that's a coincidence. So this is the front. This is a neat little pine here. It's got like white edging on it. Makes it look like it's got snow on it. And we've got about 100 solar lights in here. Very nice at night, although we haven't had much sun lately. So a lot of them aren't lighting up the way I hope they will. And this was another area that we kept. And so I tried to kind of like delineate with the rocks for like a different garden room. Another little butterfly area that I kept. And then this is kind of the focal point of the garden. These pines and these boulders. Love my boulders. My mother loved rocks, and my brothers and I have all kind of carried that tradition on. But let's see if I can get a close-up of that rock. And when the garden is wet, the rocks are just beautiful. And of course, after we did the project, we had a week of 100-degree heat, which was also fun trying to keep some of this stuff alive. Some of the 9-barks are still not happy campers. And this is an old burning bush that I kept. That'll be really pretty in about 6 weeks. And here's my new hydrant because they hit my hydrant. Thank you, John. I really wanted a new hydrant. I really did. So that worked out really well. George had to go into town and get a new hydrant that day. Let's see if we can just kind of look across this way. Very pretty. So this morning it took me about, we had hellacious winds last night, and it took me about 20 minutes to blow off the leaves off the garden. And I hadn't done it for a week. But I'd much rather blow leaves off a garden than pull weeds. Although I do need to do a little work with some Roundup this week, because I see there's a few things poking through. And kept all of Mom's iris. It's I gave a lot of it away too, but it's all the way across the back, and then it's in a few other areas too. So we'll have my iris for Memorial Day. And this is the latest edition. Marcy brought me this on Tuesday, and this is a Japanese maple, which hope springs eternal. That one can keep it alive in this climate, but we'll just have to mulch it real well and hope for the best. But that is one pretty little tree. This is another kind of pretty area. This is a tricolor beech. I've always wanted one. So we'll see if it likes it here. And Sharon Bremsmer gave me this statue, and also a few rocks and some hostas. Thank you, Sharon. So all of your stuff is doing well here. And here's the 9-barks that aren't particularly happy campers, but they're supposed to be tough plants. We'll find out. this is really neat. This is a slate walkway that we made. It was really fun that day because we just dropped them and broke them, and then poured the rocks on top, and then John had me blow them off with the leaf blower, and they just appeared out of the rocks. It was really fun. And there's the back of the pretty area. And I have some spotlights on all of that. And there's your rabbit, Sharon. But boy, do I like this. Oh my. And I've heard nothing but, of course, no one's going to say, gee, I hate your new garden. But I just really enjoy it. And I like to come out with a little plastic sack in the morning and just kind of poke and pinch and pluck and pick up sticks. And I feel like it's something that I can maintain myself. The garden was 25 years old, my original garden. And like John said, it's time. And John and I had been talking about this for a year, and then we finally found a weekend and we just did it. And I could not be more pleased with it. And especially when all of this stuff, grows up and fills in, I just think it'll be nice. And there's always room for another plant and another rock. So it is just neat. That's the front part of the waterfall. So, that's about it. An overview from this place, or this area. So, I hope you enjoy it. You have to come see it in person.